Hello everybody, we are here with your HEBO jungle guide. So we are going to be starting off with our Boomba's dagger, as well as a spear. Well, we actually have two options here. Let's see, where's our solo laner going to start? Let's see, let's ask our, can solo start at speed, please? What we're gonna do here is we're actually gonna go tier 2 boots. And I'm going to see if my solo laner will start at speed with me. He will. Okay, we're going to grab our blink. So, as a magical jungler, you would prefer on most characters to be able to start with your tier 2 boots. This means that you can't do the kind of new age meta speed to middle start because you cannot afford the hog, so you won't have the clear in time. So you have to kind of just do the old school slow start with your solo laner. But it will be better for us in the long run. So we're going to have that Boomba's dagger, tier 2 boots, and of course getting ourselves a blink so we can look for some ganks. So HEBO right now, you might not be seeing a lot of HEBO in your games, and that is because HEBO is not very good right now. I'd actually argue that this is probably the worst that HEBO has been in a while, and I think that is partly for a couple of reasons. One, HEBO doesn't have a role that he super loves right now. He is neither crazy good in the jungle or crazy good in the mid lane, which are really the two roles where he standardly thrives. Obviously, you're not going to be going out and rocking him in like the solo lane or as like a support or anything. So he doesn't really have a home right now. The jungle is just so dominated by these ability-based assassins like Fenrir and Robin and Thanatos and all these guys. And a lot of them tend to kick HEBO's butt. So that's usually pretty hard for him. Also, HEBO's thing is that HEBO does a lot of damage, right? Like, boy, golly, HEBO does damage. But we're in a very damage-heavy meta, which means doing a lot of damage isn't really that special. Everybody can kind of do a lot of damage right now. And he doesn't bring a lot of, like, other stuff to the table. He doesn't like bring a lot of CC, doesn't really bring a lot of survivability to the table. So I think those are kind of two of the reasons why HEBO is a little bit more struggling right now. But with my blink, I might actually be able to bait out. I'm gonna try to auto attack. Like, yeah, look at me, I'm totally auto attacking these creeps. I'm getting put in combat. He's not gonna fall for it. We're trying to bait out that Agni. We are going to back as soon as we can. After these creeps, so we can get our full boots online. Our full boots will help quite significantly with our clear, and we are going to get those power boots. So with the Boomba's dagger, we are going to be transitioning this later in the game into a Boomba's hammer. The Boomba's hammer, of course, gives 20% CDR as well as 10% pen, so we don't want to super overcap our CDR, and we know that we're going to have to get a Spear of Desolation because you have to get Spear of Desolation on mages right now. So we're going to make sure that we get those power boots. They're going to help us with the early game clear, and they're also going to make sure that we don't start overcapping CDR anytime soon. So HEBO's a bit more of a farm-heavy jungler right now. You have to kind of run around the jungle until you get level 5. Once you get level 5, you can actually start looking for some decent kills because you've got the blink knock-up ultimate combo. But until then, we are mostly going to be farming. But now that I've gotten level 5, I'm going to wait for this Agni. I'm going to blink right past him because I know he's going to be coming this way. Unfortunately, he's just going to get a little bit too far away from me. And so I'm not going to commit to that kill. Could have gotten the first blood underneath the tower. But the Baka would have for sure as he's been able to pick me up. I'm going to throw down my ward over here on the red. We're going to pick it up from my Changa. And we grab a nice little first blood, it seems, over in the duo lane, which is quite nice. For our level order here on HEBO, we are going to be leveling up our 1 to max. This is our main jungle clearing ability. We are going to be getting our ultimate whenever we can, then our 3 and our 2. So our level order on HEBO is going to be 4, 1, 3, 2. We don't need to level up the 2 because the main thing that's going to give us is that slow immunity, and it's already going to be a 40% difference between your increase in movement speed and their minus in movement speed plus your slow immune. So it's either going to help you get away with that, or they're going to be able to leap over it, and it doesn't like matter or anything. So you really do not need to put any points into that ability. All we're looking for is the damage that HEBO can output. Looks like my Thanos probably going to be able to clear that blue before I ever even get over there, so I'm not going to bother. Just going to keep running around and farming in my jungle. If we can get to the Ultra HEBO late game, we're still going to be pretty nice with our burst damage potential. It's really this segment of the game where HEBO is the weakest, and it is the scariest to play him. Now, I got lucky this game because for HEBO in his matchups, there's really 2 things that mess him up good. One of them is going to be immunity frames. Immunity frames are really annoying for HEBO because he's basically reliant on one-shotting you. So gods like Ravin, Kamazot, Chang'e, anybody that can immunity frame either your knockup or your ultimate are super hard for HEBO to deal with. But what's very nice for HEBO is people that cannot escape his ultimate. So Ares is a great target actually for us. He cannot escape our ultimate at all. He has no way to leap over it. He has no way to run away. And we can also use our own ultimate as CC immunity for his ulti, which is why we did not have to get beads at the start of this game, because I can actually use my ultimate for the CC immunity. For our second item here, we're going to start going into Bancrofts. Bancrofts is going to help keep us alive against the enemy team. It's going to give us a nice bit of sustain, and it's going to pair well with our power boots. And then we're going to go into a Spear of Desolation, start to get some cooldown online. But we really don't need that much CDR as HEBO. We're going to end up getting a good amount simply because when we rank up our Boombas, it'll give us 20%. But CDR is not the concern. Our main ability that we're utilizing for damage is our 1, and it's already on a 3-second cooldown to begin with. So the bigger value that we're actually going to get out of the Boomba's hammer is that -1 second on the CDRs. That is actually quite nice, because when you have a 3-second cooldown and then you auto attack, it basically means your 1 comes back up. So on late game HEBO, if we make it to level 20, you're basically going to be able to 1 auto, 1 auto, 1 auto, just over and over and over again. Now right now, I'm kind of just waiting for him to land on me. If he goes for me, it's not the end of the world. But he looks like he's going to be a little bit afraid and go away. So for our HEBO, our standard combo is going to be either blinking in, or if we're already close enough to them, using our 3. So we want to blink 3, and then standardly we'll follow that up immediately with our ultimate, and that is going to kill a lot of squishies. So you blink in, you immediately free them up so they're knocked up. They can't use a bead, they can't use an Aegis, they can't use any invulnerabilities. And as long as it's like a hunter or a mage or something, chances are you are going to be able to one-shot them. Now, if it is going to be a tankier target, maybe you're just trying to force them to use some actives. Instead, you'll walk up, you will simply 3-1. Once you get a target, even if they're kind of tanky, to around that 30-40% HP marker, that is when you're going to consider ulting. So over when I was fighting that Wukong earlier, I was holding my ultimate to see if he was going to use his. If he used his ulti, I wasn't going to use mine at all. If he wasn't using his, then I was going to do a one ulti follow-up combo once I already had him down to about half health, because I know it would have finished him. So you got to be a little patient. So for our matchups on HEBO, the things that we super do not want to go against, we talked about those immunity frames, but we also have a couple of gods that become really problematic for us. The number one god that you really do not want to play against on HEBO is simply Fenrir. Right here, I'm going to blink in. I'm going to 3. I'm going to wait for a little follow-up, and I don't even need to use my ultimate here because I have my Chang'e right by me, so instead I use a 3-1. Fenrir is the bane of your existence. Please, 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 please do not pick HEBO into a Fenrir. Fenrir will ruin your absolute day because his Brutalize auto locks on and it follows you through your ultimate. It will not be stopped by your 3. There's absolutely nothing that you can do to stop it. Now I see an Woojer back here. So I'm going to kind of walk at him, use my 2 to get a little bit closer, hit him with the 3 for the follow-up, and then the ultimate right on from behind, and we're going to be able to grab ourselves a quick kill right there. So I didn't have my blink up, so I couldn't blink on him, but I used my 2 just to get a little bit closer. And then I go ahead, hit him with the knock-up, follow him right on up with the ult, and you can see even though he had like 50% of his health or something, it didn't matter. He was still going to go down and die anyway. I have hit level 12, so I'm going to back up so I can get my beat, as well as to work on my Spear of Desolation. Now I've just got another way of dealing with that Ares ult if it does so happen to come out on me. Don't have to use my ulti for CC immunity. I can simply use my beats. So now that we're into the mid portion of the game, and I have not had a significant setback, I'm going against a Bakasura. Bakasura is like the best case scenario for you on a HEBO. He is another jungler that really wants to farm early. He wants to sit back, chill, maybe steal some jungle camps. That is perfect. If he ultis me, I can simply ulti right through him. I'll kill all of his minions with my ult. I'll get myself a nice displacement away from him so he can't immediately follow up with auto attacks, even if he has something like a Hasten Fatalis. Wonderful matchup for us in the jungle. Our disaster scenario is those popular meta gods in the jungle, the Fenrirs, Kamazots, Ravens, any of those guys are going to just be an absolutely miserable time. So I walk over here, steal the purple, I follow up with my 3 and my ultimate. He's going to get brought down to 1 HP, and I can follow up with another 1 to bring him down. Gonna go ahead and use my beads. Chang'e uses her avoidance, and we get out of that one. If you can start off a fight with your 1, it can be quite convenient if you feel like you have enough time to do so, then I would recommend it because it is on such a short cooldown. If you use your 1 at the very start of a fight, and then you follow up with your 3 ulti, by the time you play through your ultimate animation, your 1 will of course be back up. Now, doing that is a little greedy. It is kind of the max damage combo, but if you go in for the 1 first, you're giving your enemy a lot of time to react to whatever you're going to do next. And so if you're going to be able to one-shot them with that 3-4 combo, there's no reason to try to get maximum damage off because you can't kill a target more than dead. So there's no point to, like, on paper have the best damage. All you want to do is kill the enemy target. So if you're going to need the extra damage, maybe it's a tankier target, then you can start with your 1, 3, 4, 1. But for a lot of the characters that you're going to be going against, the 3, 4 is simply going to be enough. You don't need a couple of 1s in there. I'm going to go ahead and back it right on up. We're going to get that Spear of Desolation online, and we are going to get ourselves a Typhon's Fang. Typhon's Fang pairs perfectly with our Bancrofts. If you're ever buying Bancrofts, you're buying Typhon's Fang. This is going to give us a little bit of percent pen, which is nice. But more importantly, it's going to give us a lot of healing efficacy for sustaining off of these camps. And it's going to give us a little bit of survivability as we move into these late game team fights where HEBO is very liable to get one shot. So in our 1v1s, this could very well make the difference between dying and staying alive. HEBO has a lot of damage on his abilities, which means he has a lot of life stealing potential. I see that their red has come up and that they've got a lot of people over in right lane. So I'm going to look at that red buff, see if I can't take it before anybody gets over here. And then I'm going to call for the Gold Fury. I have got a sentry ward that I have kept out for this. I would love to go do the Gold Fury with my Izanami. They do have it warded, unfortunately, and it doesn't seem that my Izanami is very interested in all at going to the Gold Fury. So instead, I'm going to walk over towards their purple, get the cooldown for that camp, and take some of the waves over here that she is left behind. So right there, we had the sentry ward on the gold. We knew that a significant amount of their players were over in the right-hand side. So the proper play there from Izanami was to walk over and do the Gold Fury. The only person that could have been there to contest us was the Woojer. And if we die 2v1 to the Woojer, well, really, that's our problem. I'm going to use my 2 to just kind of cut off the Agni a little bit, use my ulti to close the distance, and unfortunately it's not going to quite be enough because he has that Aegis up. I'm going to blink to get myself a little bit farther away here. A little 2 for my Izanami to try to use that for a position away from the Baka, but she does not utilize it as so. So that HEBO carpet is actually a surprisingly good team peel ability away from particularly melee damage dealers. So right there, I throw down a 2 for my Izanami. I split the difference between her and the Baka. She gets just a little bit of bonus movement speed on it. And the Baka, more importantly, is going to be slowed by it. If she wanted to, what she could have done is actually just started to walk away from the Baka. She kept staying there and fighting. He could have simply walked away, and that slow from the 2 probably would have been enough for him to get away from the Baka. Woojer maybe still could have killed him with like a good 3 or something, but she would have been able to get away from the Baka. So I'm about to be able to afford my Typhon's Fang, so I'm going to go do hashtag one more jungle camp in order to make sure that I can back and get this Typhon's, because it is going to really increase our damage and our survivability. So I don't mind sticking around for a couple more seconds. Now I'm going to grab myself a couple of wards, once again putting those out deep in the jungle so I can go steal their camps. And now to the time of the game where HEBO is really coming online. Now we can head over towards this Gold Fury. We've got a Chang'e for the sustain. And HEBO has really, really good objective secure. So your objective secure on HEBO is obviously just going to be your ulti. When you get that objective low enough, ulti right on through it and you will be able to secure it. Doesn't matter whether it's the Gold Fury, Pyromancer, Fire Giant. Either way, HEBO ult, one of the better secures in the game. When you're using it though, make sure you're ulting back towards your team. So in that case, I could have ultied towards their jungle, right? Or towards my jungle. I want to ulti back towards my team to make sure that after my ultimate, I am positioned in a good spot. I don't want to accidentally try to ulti to secure the Gold Fury and then yeet myself into like 3 people coming around the corner. Same thing with the Fire Giant. Make sure you're generally ulting back towards your team instead of away from your team when you're using it to secure those objectives. Now I'm going to start saving up my gold because we are getting close to being able to get level 20 and afford our Boomba's hammer. So at this point, I'm going to keep saving up my money. I'm not going to spend anything until I get that level 20 and I can afford it. That's going to give me 20% more CDR, so I'm going to be at a 30% CDR, which is fantastic. Honestly, 30% CDR for HEBO is probably a little bit overkill, but you really don't have a choice in the build. You're going to end up with Boombas no matter what, and you're going to end up with Spear of Desolation no matter what, so it's like, it is what it is. We ain't going to say no to CDR, we're just not specifically building in towards it. This Boomba's also going to give us a lot more survivability. We're going to give a lot of health off of this, plus we're going to get some percent penetration on top of our Typhons, and then we're going to finish up with a Rada Tahuti, so we end up with that 30% penetration. Now, my damage output is going to be real high right now. Doesn't matter whether it's a tanky target, a squishy target. Either way, they are going to be having a very scary time against this HEBO. So we can actually just go straight to the Fire Giant right now. Woojer was over left lane. He probably backed up. We saw the Wukong back and right. We don't know where the Baka is, but we do have a bunch of vision out. And I can actually start to tank this as soon as we get people over here. And we're going to be able to burn this down pretty fast with the Fenrir, Thanatos. We got Chang'e coming over, so I'm going to start it up for my team. I don't actually mind taking this. And you can look at the cooldown on my one. Watch. One auto. You are going to burn the objectives so fast once you get that Boombas online, because every single time that I use an ability and then auto attack, I get my cooldown just immediately back up. So it essentially has 0 cooldowns. So as long as you're landing that auto, your only real thing preventing you from using abilities is going to be your mana consumption. Speaking of mana consumption, ooh, baby, really good Aegis right there from the Woojer, but it just doesn't matter. My damage output is now through the wazoo. So HEBO, much like a Freya, is a little bit of a rage mechanic. And by that, what I mean is if you do not deal with the HEBO before the 20-minute marker, then you have already made the crucial error of the game, and the raid boss is simply online.
Your team has destroyed a left enemy tower.
So you want to make sure you're dealing with the HEBO earlier in the game when he's a lot more susceptible. Now at this stage of the game, I really shouldn't ever lose to somebody 1v1. HEBO becomes one of the premier 1v1ers in the game because he one-shot you, and it's hard to fight back against somebody that one-shot you for sure. But the one thing we will have to be careful about is our mana consumption. We will be able to burn through immediately all of our mana, so we just need to be a little bit careful. So now I'm going to head over towards this red buff. We're going to grab that, and we can group up as a team and start to go shove up into the left lane. Gold Fury is also coming up soon, so we can get set up around the Gold Fury. Gonna throw down a little sentry ward just to make sure they don't have vision and get a quick pick. I hear the Woojer. I know that his Aegis is down, so I'm gonna look for the blink, hit him with the ulti. I actually waited for him to jump right there because I felt like I was going to be able to get this. Agnes is going to dash through me. Gonna use my ultimate for the CC immunity there on the Ares. And now I'm just going to hit him up with the 1 auto, 2 auto, 1 auto, 2 auto, 1 auto, 2 auto. Knock up the Baka. And it's really hard for the enemy team to deal with this. You literally just start walking through them. Once you get that Boombas online, there is very, very little counterplay available for the enemy team because you are a HEBO with genuinely no cooldowns, especially if you've gone for the Spear of Desolation. Not only do your regular abilities have basically no cooldown, but your ultimate is always going to be up as well. Now between me and the Izanami, we should be able to walk right at this Titan and just go ahead and bring it down. No cooldowns is a very strong mechanic on a god that can hit you for 1,000 damage with every single ability. So for our final item there, we would of course gotten ourselves that Rod of Tahuti, would have brought us up to 30% pen. We also had 30% CDR. We had a ton of lifesteal and a ton of sustain. What you should learn from this game is as a HEBO, your job is to farm until you get to that mid to late game. And what you should learn if you're playing against a HEBO is you cannot let him get to that mid to late game point. You have to farm him in the early game. This is also why we take HEBO into the jungle, because it's a little bit safer to be a jungler right now than it is to be a laner, guys. And that is our HEBO jungle guide.